Welcome to the Alldus podcast, Women in ServiceNow series, a brand new series dedicated to showcasing the incredible women leading the way in the ServiceNow ecosystem. With your host, Ailsa Cassie, each episode will bring you inspiring conversations with trailblazing women who are driving innovation, breaking barriers, and shaping the future of ServiceNow. Whether you're an aspiring leader, a seasoned professional, or just curious about the impact of female leadership in the tech space, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration and empowerment. Join us on this exciting new journey as we dive into the stories, challenges, and triumphs of the remarkable women making their mark within the ServiceNow ecosystem.
Today, we're thrilled to have a guest with an incredibly diverse background who's turned challenges into opportunities at every turn, from process manufacturing to becoming a certified ServiceNow professional. Her story really is a testament to resilience, curiosity, and determination. So thanks so much for joining us today, Amanda.
Thank you.
So let's get straight into it then. You've got such a varied and fascinating background. It'd be great to maybe hear a little bit more about your journey and some of the roles that you embarked on before starting your ServiceNow adventure.
Yes, I've worked at a sign company. We made sign for hotels and other companies, and I also been a ghost at an amusement park. And for 13 years, I have been a lash technician with my own salon. And for 1 year ago, I finished as a subway train driver. So I've done a lot of different things.
Definitely. You've lived a few different lives, and I'm sure that there was a lot of different kind of skills that you learned along the way that maybe weren't in technology, but were still very transferable into your career now as a ServiceNow developer. And it's such a dynamic path as well. So how did you first come to discover the ServiceNow product itself, and what inspired you to join the Rise Up program?
Oh, I've never thought of IT before. And then I met Lars Åkerbolk through a friend. And I love trying new stuff, especially new work stuff.
Yeah.
I love to learn things, and he introduced me to the ServiceNow. And at first I was not sure. It was I thought it was so different from what I can do and what I have done. But when I started to look at it and he showed me, I realized it wasn't that different. It was a lot of logistics and things that I worked with.
Yeah, definitely. Processes, things that you've done in the past before, but as I said, aren't in technology, but are reflective within the ServiceNow market. So what was it that kind of got you to decide you were going to do the Rise Up program? I know that it was new to you through your introduction to this friend. So was there anything in particular that he told you about the ServiceNow environment that really excited you to start with?
Yeah, it was that you never are done. You can't know everything. It's always something new to learn. And I just go through a divorce, and I met him, and I was working as a subway driver, and the working hours they didn't fit with a divorced life.
Yeah.
With shifts starting at like 4 a.m.
Wow.
So, and then I saw an opportunity with someone who can show me this world.
Yeah.
And be like a mentor.
Yeah.
And I took that chance.
Took the chance, and I love that. And I think, as I said, it's reflective in the kind of different roles that you've had. You've not been afraid to put yourself out there and, start something from scratch, whether that be, learning to become a subway driver or having your own entrepreneurial business as a lash technician as well. You've always kind of put yourself out there to know more, and in situations where maybe you aren't an expert, but you're willing to become one. And I think that's really inspiring for people. And of course, no journey is without its challenges. So what have the biggest obstacles been for you along the way within the ServiceNow environment?
Oh, it's the self-doubt, I think.
Yeah.
I thought many times, what am I doing? Is this for me?
I'm sure you're not alone in that either. There'll be other people that have felt that too.
Yeah, but I think I really love to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And when something is going great, it's boring. I think if everything's just easy, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
But it's this journey with ups and downs, and that's the thing that keep me going.
Keeps you going. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exciting, isn't it? Even it's high highs and low lows at times, isn't it?
Yeah.
In anything that you do, and I speak to a lot of people about being comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I think it's such a valuable trait to be able to train yourself to do in whatever career that you're exploring. So, in particular, with regards to the work that you've done as a ServiceNow consultant or a ServiceNow developer, is there any kind of particular challenges that you're noticing even at this early on stage in your career that you're helping your customers to overcome?
Oh, for me, the hardest thing with me not having an IT background and just the ServiceNow training in Now Learning, the Now Learning is everything is so easy. It's so plain. And then when you work in the real life, someone else have done it, you should change something, and it's not that easy. You need to ask people. You can't just Google it.
Yeah, so it's not just kind of looking at a blank piece of paper or a blank document. It's going into real life, customer challenges and having to maybe fix old problems that have been created before, or looking at someone else's data that's not your own. I can imagine that must be quite challenging in comparison to, a blank piece of paper that you would see from Now Learning. Is that fair to say?
Exactly.
Yeah. So getting that kind of practical experience alongside your theoretical experience, were you happy to do that, or how did you manage that workload?
Oh, I like the practical learning.
Yeah.
It's much more easy for me.
Okay.
I'm learning by doing.
Yeah.
Because the reading part and I think the tests in ServiceNow are really hard.
Okay.
But I'm a quick learner when I get to do it practically.
Yeah, well, that's good to know, because I think having that theoretical knowledge versus practical knowledge is, what makes you a great consultant, and you've got that kind of theory to underpin the things that you're actually doing for people within the customer environment. So I can imagine it would be tough trying to imagine what a real life scenario was like by just knowing the theory to start with, but that's part of the learning journey, isn't it?
Yes, and I was prepared for that. I don't really like that easy when in Now Learning, it's great learning, but everything is easy.
Yeah.
If you don't understand something, you can just search for it and it's an easy fix.
Yeah.
And in real life, you need to ask someone, wait for someone maybe done it 5 years before, or it's harder, but it's more fun.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it, isn't it? Looking at a challenge is fun and something that's going to make you better at the end of the day, as opposed to something that should be avoided or something that should be concerning.
No, I love when I can solve a problem.
Yeah.
And the feeling inside yourself that, oh, I did this.
Yeah, it's so rewarding, isn't it? And of course, you've mentioned that you had a mentor that got you into the kind of ServiceNow environment, and having those peers within the ecosystem to lean on and ask questions to. I can imagine that just kind of validifies any concerns that you've got, but helps you approach things better in that regard, because you've got people to ask advice from and to lean on and learn from.
Yes, I don't think I should have done this without the help and pushing and support from someone that's really experienced.
Yeah. So you've got that kind of self-belief, but then on top of that, having that additional support from those around you, and particularly your mentor, would have really motivated you to keep going in those times where you maybe hadn't passed the test first time, or you looked at a user case or a customer problem and felt like you weren't equipped to be able to solve it, but you had that backing from those around you and with your own theoretical knowledge. So it really kind of motivated you to keep going, which is great to see. And now you're thriving in the environment. And when we first met, we spoke about you had kind of quickly gone through the Rise Up program, where you completed the Rise Up program, and then in the end you were able to present and speak at Knowledge this year, which is such an exciting milestone, and one that I would find daunting myself, getting up in front of so many people. But again, it kind of goes back to that rewarding part where, you have achieved something, you've pushed yourself out of your comfort zone, and that really kind of again validifies how far you've come in such a short period of time. How did it really feel to be on stage at that moment in your career and present and feel the warmth coming back to you about what you've achieved so far?
Oh, on stage, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I just walked up and thought, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I was terrified and sweaty, and but then when I go off stage, it was like such a relief.
Yeah.
I did it. It's crazy, and sometimes I think back on it, like who's on stage? Who's gonna do that? That's crazy.
Yeah, was it almost like an outer body experience then?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But yeah, it was a small stage, but still.
Yeah, well, still, as I said, such a milestone, and I really like it's almost kind of poetic that you did the Rise Up program, and then you were rised up right onto the stage in front of the biggest ServiceNow audience that you could find. So I think that's really cool. And I guess in terms of advice that you would have for other people, you have had a dynamic journey into the environment. And as you look ahead, what kind of really excites you about the next chapter of your ServiceNow journey? And what would you say to others that are curious about doing something similar to the Rise Up program and exploring a role in technology for those that don't have a technology background like you didn't?
Oh, I think Rise Up is great. It's hard. It's really hard. I need to say that, but it's possible. If you want to, you believe in yourself, and I think more should try and change career. I was working with a job that's hurting my body. It was chemicals, and it was hard.
Yeah.
And now I get to work with my brain, and it's so nice. And I think many people are in the same position as that I was. And the IT world is so far away from the life that I was living and the work that I was doing.
Yeah.
And believe in yourself and just try.
Yeah. Nothing to lose. You can always just look at some other options along the line as well. And that, I think, again, what's so amazing about ServiceNow is that it's not one job and one career path. There's so many different options within the ecosystem that you can explore. So if you do learn something and realize that didn't excite you, or it wasn't, something that you were really passionate about, there are so many other options with so many other things within the environment that you have the ability to look into yourself. And if you've got the motivation to succeed, there is a place for you at some point or somewhere within the ecosystem, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's so much bigger than I first thought about. And you can really do whatever you want in it and see what's my path. Where should I go? Where does I fit in this?
Yeah, definitely. And so we mentioned that you did a speech at the ServiceNow event this year. Is there anything that we should be looking forward to over the next year to come from you, Amanda, that you're excited to be participating in, or an event that you're attending again?
Yeah, I have sent in my knowledge next year, but so I'm hoping for that. But it's so many great speakers that are searching for that, so maybe. So
we'll need to wait and see then. Well, it's been amazing to speak to you, and again, you've been such an inspiration to those that are curious about, looking into a ServiceNow career without any technology experience. I really appreciate you sharing your journey with us and showing us that no matter what, you can start from whatever background that you have worked in before and pursue a ServiceNow career if you have the right motivation, the right mentors, and the right community around you as well. So thanks again for joining us today, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.